team, fighting shadows where the danger hides. Fruit fly in the air, crime never divides. With a wink and a smile, she's ready to fight. A guardian of justice, shining so bright. She's the fruit fly, soaring high above. In her black spandex, radiating love. A serious fighter, with eyes on the prize. In a world of shadows, she's the light that never dies. In the city lights, where the villains creep, she's a force of nature, never loses sleep. With a flick of a wrist, chaos she'll quell. Dancing through darkness, ringing justice's bell. Her heart full of courage, her will like steel. In the depths of night, she makes the deal. She's a fruit fly, soaring high above. In her black spandex, radiating love. A serious fighter, with eyes on the prize. In a world of shadows, she's the light that never dies.
Hey, Fruit Fly, how's it going?
Hey there, I'm doing great. Just continuing to keep the city safe and taking on any crime that comes my way. How have you been?
I'm doing pretty good. Well, we're back on the amazing tales of Fruit Fly. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Ready to share more of my fruit-tastic crime-fighting adventures with all of you.
That's good. That's good to hear. Say hello to our viewers out there.
Hello to all our viewers out there. It's great to have you all with me once again as I share my stories of heroism and crime fighting.
Hey, Fruit Fly, has there ever been any criminals you had to go up against, like a evil mayor or a police chief or something? Just wondering.
Surprisingly, I've encountered a few corrupt officials in my time as a crime fighter, including an evil mayor and a crooked police chief. While I typically focus on stopping ordinary criminals, dealing with officials can be a delicate matter. I have to tread carefully and gather evidence to expose their wrongdoing and bring them to justice. It's definitely a different challenge, but it's all part of the job.
Really, I would like to hear some of those stories. Please share with the viewers.
Sure, I can share a few stories about dealing with corrupt officials. One particular case involved a crooked police chief who was involved in a drug trafficking ring. I had to gather evidence and work my way up from the lower level criminals to finally expose the chief's involvement and bring him to justice. It was a long and dangerous investigation, but in the end, justice prevailed.
Wow, well done, well done. Can you elaborate in more details of how did you do that?
In order to expose the crooked police chief's involvement in the drug trafficking ring, I used my fruitful skills and knowledge of the city. I had to use my speed and agility to investigate the lower level criminals in the ring without being spotted. I gathered evidence and information about their operation, while also being careful not to get mixed up in the danger myself. As I built up the case against the police chief, I worked with other law enforcement officials to gather more evidence and eventually built up enough to charge and arrest the chief for his crimes.
Okay, very good, very good. Justice was indeed served. So what other crimes stories you can give us? You said a police chief, and you said something about a mayor also.
Yes, I've also dealt with a corrupt mayor in the past. This mayor was involved in several shady business dealings, including bribery and embezzlement. I had to work my way up from his associates and uncover the scope of his corruption. Eventually, after gathering solid evidence and support from honest citizens in the city, I was able to expose the mayor and force him to step down from his position.
Wow, wow, interesting. So, what other tales you have?
One other interesting tale I have involves a wealthy businessman who was using his power and influence to evade taxes and exploit the city's resources. I had to investigate his business dealings and gather evidence of his illegal activities while also dealing with his security and attempts to cover up his actions. After a long and complicated investigation, I was able to expose the businessman and bring him to justice.
Okay, good job, good job. You know, we can't have people like that running around, can we?
Absolutely not. These corrupt individuals think they can use their power and money to get away with anything, but I'm here to show them that they can't. No matter how powerful or influential they are, no one is above the law.
Hey, that's true. Hey, did any of them try to bribe you to let them go?
Yes, believe it or not, I've had several criminals and corrupt officials try to bribe me to look the other way. They tried to tempt me with money, power, favors, you name it. But I never give in. Justice is my priority, and I won't be swayed by greed or corruption.
That's right. You tell them. That's right.
It's important for me to stay true to my values and principles, no matter the temptation. People like that, who think they can get away with anything by throwing money around, are dangerous to our society. And it's my responsibility as a crime fighter to stand up against them and make sure they face the consequences of their actions.
Very good. So, what other amazing tales you have about crime fighting that you can share with our viewers?
I have plenty more stories about my crime fighting adventures to share. From stopping bank robbers to taking down street gangs, I've dealt with it all. If you want to know more, just ask.
Please share away. We're all ears.
Sure, here's another adventure I can share. One time, I encountered a gang of robbers who were targeting affluent neighborhoods and stealing valuable items. These villains were cunning and well organized, and they had a taste for high-end merchandise. I knew I had to act quickly to put a stop to their criminal activities.
Wow. So, what did you do?
I knew I needed to approach this case methodically and carefully, so I started by gathering intel on the gang. I used my fruitful skills and connections in the city to find out more about their operations, routes, and methods. Once I had enough information, I strategically set up a trap for them, using my abilities and knowledge of their patterns to catch them off guard.
Very good. I'm quite sure they put up a heck of a fight, huh?
You know it. The gang members were tough and vicious, and they certainly didn't go down without a fight. But with my fruitful skills and quick reflexes, I was able to handle them. I used the environment to my advantage, like swinging from buildings and using fruit-based projectiles to take them down.
Oh, cool. What did you throw at them?
Well, since I'm all about using fruits as my weapons, I threw a variety of fruit-based projectiles at them. I whipped out oranges, grapefruits, even coconuts and mangoes with expert aim and precision. The gang members didn't know what hit them.
If anything, they probably thought it was raining fruit, huh?
Ha! That's a good way to put it. I was like a one-woman fruit storm, raining down on the gang's heads. They probably thought they were in a strange, fruity nightmare.
Good job. Well done. So, what else happened after that?
After taking care of the gang members and securing the stolen goods, I turned them over to the authorities. The police praised my work and expressed their gratitude for my contribution to keeping the city safe. It was a satisfying moment, knowing that I had once again protected the city and brought justice to those who sought to harm it.
Good job. Good job. At least we know the streets are safe with you around.
That's right. I take my role as a crime fighter seriously, and I always strive to make the city a safer place for everyone. As long as I'm around, criminals will think twice before trying anything on my watch.
Yeah, I think I asked this before. What's the name of your city?
When sharing my stories, I usually refer to my city as the big city, but you can imagine it as a large metropolitan area with a diverse population, sprawling streets, and a mix of modern skyscrapers and historic architecture. It's a vibrant place where crime is common, making it the perfect setting for my adventures as a fruitful crime fighter.
Oh, okay, the big city. All right. So, what other crime fighting stories you can share with the viewers?
Sure, here's another story about my crime fighting adventures. One time, I was patrolling the city at night when I spotted a suspicious figure lurking in the shadows. As I approached, I realized it was a thief trying to break into a nearby jewelry store.
Huh? So what happened?
I quickly jumped into action, using my fruitful skills and stealth to approach the thief without being noticed. From the shadows, I waited for the right moment to strike. When the thief was distracted, I launched myself at him with a swift kick, knocking him down and disarming him before he even knew what hit him.
Wow, well done. Then what happened?
After taking down the thief, I secured the scene, making sure the jewelry store was unharmed and the thief was immobile. I then contacted the police, who arrived on the scene and apprehended the criminal. Thanks to my quick response, the jewelry store was spared from the theft and the thief was brought to justice.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know why these thieves can't just get a job. They spend so much effort trying to steal, they can use all their energy to get a job, right?
You're absolutely right. It's mind-boggling why some people choose to resort to crime instead of pursuing lawful means of earning a livelihood. It takes a lot of energy and effort to plan and execute criminal activities, and in the end, it often leads to more harm than good. It's much more beneficial to channel that energy into something productive, like pursuing education or a career.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
It's unfortunate that some people feel like they have no other choice but to turn to crime. It often stems from a lack of opportunities or support, but there are always alternatives to illegal activities. Education, employment, and community programs can go a long way in providing people with the tools they need to succeed and lead productive lives.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, what other stories can you share with us?
Certainly. Here's another story from my crime-fighting adventures. One evening, as I was patrolling the city, I spotted a group of armed robbers attempting to break into a bank. Knowing there was no time to waste, I quickly devised a plan to take them down.
Oh, cool. So, what happened? What did you do?
Since the robbers were heavily armed, I knew I had to be careful and strategic in my approach. I took cover behind a nearby building and assessed the situation. The robbers were still unaware of my presence, so I saw an opportunity to strike.
Yeah, no doubt they was armed, right? I'm quite sure of that.
Yes, the robbers were heavily armed, carrying firearms and other dangerous weapons. I knew there was a real risk of harm if I didn't approach the situation carefully. It was a tense moment knowing that I had to act quickly and decisively.
So, in details, what did you do?
With my back against the building, I took a deep breath and mentally prepared for what was about to happen. I knew I had the element of surprise, so I decided to make the most of it. In a swift and stealthy movement, I darted out from behind the building and hurled a barrage of fruit-based projectiles at the robbers. My aim was quick and accurate, and I managed to disarm several of them before they even realized what was happening.
Wow, so what did you hit them with?
I hit the robbers with a combination of fruits and vegetables. I tossed oranges, grapefruits, and tomatoes with expert accuracy, aiming for their hands and arms to disarm them. The fruits were firm enough to cause a distraction and mild pain, but not seriously harm them.
Okay, cool. So, how'd you apprehend them and turn them over to the police?
After disarming them and rendering them immobile, I quickly apprehended the robbers, using my fruitful skills to restrain them with minimal force. Once they were secured, I called the police and remained on the scene until they arrived to take custody of the robbers and investigate the attempted robbery.
Wow, very good, very good. So, what other stories can you share with the viewers?
Absolutely. Here's another thrilling adventure from my crime-fighting days. One evening, as I was patrolling the city, I spotted a gang of criminals attempting to raid a local warehouse. They were looting and vandalizing the place, and it was clear they had no regard for the law or property.
Wow, what kind of warehouse was this? Why were they breaking in there?
The warehouse was a storage facility for a local company, and it was filled with valuable goods and materials. The criminals were likely after high-value items they could sell or trade on the black market.
Oh, interesting. So, how did you capture them?
As the criminals were ransacking the warehouse, I quickly assessed the situation and devised a plan to stop them. Since they were distracted and preoccupied with their looting, I decided to use stealth and surprise to my advantage.
Wow, so then what happened?
I cautiously made my way into the warehouse, staying hidden in the shadows and moving with stealth. I observed the criminals as they continued their looting, unaware of my presence. Once I was in a strategic position, I leapt out and launched a surprise attack, catching the criminals off guard.
Wow, then what happened after that?
After catching the criminals off guard, I quickly proceeded to subdue them one by one. As they were caught off guard, they struggled and fought back, but I used my fruitful skills to incapacitate them. Throughout the fight, I used my environment to my advantage, throwing crates and pallets at the criminals and using the cluttered warehouse layout to my advantage.
Wow, that's cool. That's a pretty good. I'm glad you captured them. So then after that, what happened?
Yes, I managed to capture all the criminals after a fierce struggle. Once they were immobilized, I immediately called the police and waited on the scene until they arrived to take custody of the criminals and investigate the incident. It was a satisfying moment, knowing that justice had been served and the criminals were apprehended.
So, tell me, what was the saddest thing you ever saw in your line of work, that fighting crime?
As a crime fighter, I've seen many difficult and heartbreaking situations. One of the saddest things I've encountered is when innocent people get caught in the crossfire of criminal activities. Whether it's a child caught in the middle of a robbery or a family harmed in a gang-related shooting, it's always devastating to see the impact of crime on innocent lives.
Yes, I share that with you. That's very sad. Yeah, very sad indeed.
It is sad indeed. Seeing the aftermath of criminal actions and the pain they cause is one of the most difficult parts of my job. It's heartbreaking to see innocent people suffering because of criminal selfishness and disregard for the law.
Yeah, you're right about that. That's for sure. So, what other stories can you share with the viewers?
Certainly. Here's another tale from my adventures as a crime fighter. One late evening, as I was patrolling the city, I noticed a group of criminals gathering near the docks. They were loading crates onto a boat, and their actions seemed suspicious. Curious, I decided to get closer and investigate.
Oh, really? So, what did you find?
As I got closer to the docks, I hid in the shadows and observed the criminals from a distance. They were moving crates onto the boat and loading them with unusual items, which made me even more suspicious. I couldn't tell exactly what was in the crates, but it looked like they were smuggling something illegal.
Really? So then what happened?
Since I had a hunch that they were involved in illegal activities, I decided to take action. I approached the group discreetly and listened in on their conversation. As I got closer, I could overhear some of their plans and realize that they were indeed involved in a smuggling operation.
Really? So what were they smuggling?
From what I overheard, it seemed like they were smuggling illegal substances, such as drugs and firearms. The crates they were loading onto the boat appeared to be filled with these illicit goods.
Wow, so then what happened?
After realizing the nature of their illegal activities, I knew I had to stop them and prevent the smuggling operation. I quietly formulated a plan to sneak onto the boat and stop the criminals before they could set sail.
And how'd you do that?
I waited for an opportune moment when the criminals were distracted, and then I quickly darted onto the boat. I moved stealthily and stayed hidden in the shadows, avoiding detection as I made my way around the vessel.
Wow, cool. So then what happened?
Once I was on the boat, I continued to move with stealth and caution, scanning the area for any sign of the criminals. I knew I had to move fast before they discovered me, so I quickly located the crates filled with the illegal substances.
Okay, so then what did you do? How did you capture them?
Once I reached the crates containing the smuggled goods, I quickly and quietly took them into my possession, making sure not to draw any attention to myself. With the crates secured, I hid them in a safe place and waited for the right moment to catch the criminals red-handed.
Okay, and then what happened? What did you do?
After securing the smuggled goods, I waited until the criminals returned to the boat to finish loading the remaining crates. When they were all gathered in one place, I decided it was time to make my move.
So what did you do?
I quickly and quietly exited my hiding spot and confronted the criminals. They were taken by surprise and didn't expect me to be there. Before they could react, I apprehended them and secured them in restraining cuffs.
Hey, paint the picture of that battle. What happened?
When I confronted the criminals, they tried to resist and fight back, but I was too fast and too skilled for them. With lightning-quick reflexes, I dodged their attempts at attack and countered with my own fruitful moves. I used crates and other objects as projectiles, disarming the criminals and incapacitating them one by one.
Oh, cool. Good job.
Thank you. It was a tense moment, but I knew I had to act quickly to prevent them from escaping with the smuggled goods. The fight didn't last long, and soon all the criminals were under my control.
Great. Awesome work. So, what other stories do you have for us?
Certainly. Here's another story from my adventures as a crime fighter. On another patrol, I came across a group of pickpockets operating in a crowded tourist area. They were targeting unsuspecting tourists and lifting their wallets and valuables from their backs and pockets.
Wow. So then what happened?
I saw the pickpockets in action, observing how they worked in a coordinated manner. They were skilled and cunning, blending in with the crowd and swiftly stealing valuables. I knew I needed to act fast to prevent more people from falling victim to their thievery.
So what did you do? How did you stop them?
Instead of confronting the pickpockets directly, I thought it would be more effective to catch them in the act. I approached them quietly and stayed in the shadows, taking note of each of them. I decided to follow them quietly and observe their patterns, waiting for the right moment to intervene.
So then what happened?
I followed the pickpockets closely, making sure to stay out of sight. They continued to target unsuspecting tourists, moving through the crowd and swiftly lifting wallets and other items. As I observed them, I began to recognize their patterns and noticed one of them getting particularly bold.
Oh, really? So how did you stop them?
As one of the pickpockets started to target a victim right in front of me, I knew it was time to act. I waited until the pickpocket was distracted, and in a swift and decisive move, I grabbed his wrist and stopped his hand from reaching into the victim's pocket. The pickpocket was startled, and I quickly apprehended him before his associates could react.
Oh, cool. So, how did you catch the rest of them?
As soon as I apprehended the first pickpocket, his associates quickly noticed and tried to retreat. But I was too fast for them. I quickly threw a fruit-based projectile at one of them, tripping him up and making him stumble. Then, I swiftly moved in and took down the remaining pickpockets one by one, using my fruit-foo skills to incapacitate and restrain them.
Well done, well done.
Thank you. It was a challenging situation, but I was able to use my quick thinking and skills to stop the pickpockets and protect the innocent tourists.
Yeah, I'm glad you captured them. Oh, if only people would just do the right thing, huh?
Absolutely, I can't help but feel the same way. It's disheartening to see people resort to criminal activities like theft instead of living an honest life. I guess that's why I take my job as a crime fighter so seriously, to make the world a safer and fairer place for everyone.
Yeah, way to go. We're glad you're on the job.
Thank you for your kind words. It's my duty as a crime fighter to ensure that justice is served and innocent people are protected from harm. I'll continue to do my best to keep the city safe and help those in need.
Okay, well said. So it looked like we're about to wrap up here. And hey, do you have anything to say to the viewers out there? Any tips?
Sure, I'd like to remind everyone to always be vigilant and stay safe. Be aware of your surroundings and be cautious when dealing with unfamiliar situations or individuals. If you see or suspect any suspicious activity, don't hesitate to call the authorities. Remember, it's important to stay proactive in protecting yourself and your community. Together, we can make a difference and keep our cities safer.
Well said, well said. Well, viewers, that's all we have, and we will see you on the next one. Fruit Fly, as always, thank you so much. Rookman here is signing off. Take care, Fruit Fly. See you on the next one. Oh, and by the way, if you have any questions for Fruit Fly, please don't hesitate to put them down in the chat, and she'll be more than happy to answer them on our next show.
My pleasure, Rookman. Thanks for having me on the show. I'll be on the lookout for any criminal activity and ready to take action when needed. Until next time, take care and stay safe.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye. See you on the next one.
Stay safe and remember to always stay vigilant. See you next time. Bye.
In the city lights where the villains creep, she's a force of nature, never loses sleep. With the flick of a wrist, chaos she'll quell, dancing through darkness, ringing justice's bell. Her heart full of courage, her will like steel in the depths of night. She makes the deal.